Hi, Jenny. So glad you're here. Welcome to tonight's live. There's Denise and Calm Carolyn. Hello, Calm Carolyn. I'm so glad you're here. Swamp Fox. I don't know what that is. Okay. I think they're populating. Password Funny says hello. Hello. So glad you guys are here. You guys ready for the holidays? What's your favorite present? What are you asking for? What's Santa bringing you? Put that in the comments. I want to see what you guys are asking for. Nothing? You guys aren't asking for anything? Come on, gotta be something. Oh, okay. Hi, there's Tracy. Hi, honey. How are you? Tracy, what are you getting for Christmas? Don't be shy. Oh, there's Elaine. Hi, Elaine. I'm so glad you're here. I feel like we're old friends. It's awesome. And Susanna. Coal, Tracy, you're not getting coal. I might be getting coal though. I haven't been very good lately. I think I've been a little stressed. My moderator slash fiance is probably not very happy with me right now because the holidays are getting me, I think. Hey, Elaine, I'm perfect. I'm awesome. It's just, I love the holidays. It's just, yeah, I get a little crazy. Do you guys get a little crazy, especially around the holidays? I don't know. It's like I love it. I love Christmas. I love all the things. This year I'm too much pain for holidays. Catch up next year. Oh, well, we want to get you out of pain. Pain is no good. We don't want pain. So I did my live last night. I don't remember if you were on the live last night. We talked about joint pain and menopause and perimenopause, and I haven't posted the live replay yet. So that was a really good one. I had so many people on commenting, asking questions. So for those of you who don't know me, hello. I forgot. 9 days to Christmas. Time goes fast. Yes. Anyone else have it freezing? Cold? If you're talking about the weather, it was like 50 degrees. My son actually went fishing today. So sent me pictures and I was like, I'm at work, but yeah. So I was on a live. So it's a great time of year. I am excited tonight. This is all about you guys. I come on here with topics because the dead space is awkward. So I will talk about anything you want to, but I do come with the topics. And for the month of December, it's been kind of like, how do you design your topics to talk about? And so I've done the 25 days like Advent calendar, counting down to Christmas. And I've done the 25 most common symptoms of menopause. And number one is not hot flashes. That's what they want you to think, right? I sound like a conspiracy theorist here because I'm always like going against mainstream. But number one is fatigue. That's what brings women in, and weight loss, which is number 4 on the list. But there's also not sleeping. There's so many things before hot flashes, and hot flashes come before frozen shoulder and joint pain. So, I mean, that's the order of things that I see in my practice. And I've been doing this almost 25 years and helping women. And I had to get outside the box because I've had just about every hormone problem that you can name. So that's kind of my journey. And I don't think doctors are bad. I think they care. It's just, seems like every time when someone joins live is freezing. Oh, I don't know. Like the screen is freezing? That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Password says something's going on. Talk about hurt shoulders. Yeah, we absolutely can do that. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that a lot last night. Joint inflammation. Let's see. Okay, that's weird. Okay, so Connie says not having any issues. My fatigue is awful, but blood work is perfect. So yeah. So anyway, I was saying squirrel that I'm here for you guys because I do go outside the box and I do a lot of nerdy research, and I love it because I have always been a question asker. I've always been the one who's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And so that's just who I am. And I think I've learned a lot because I always think God does things for us and not to us. So all the hormone problems that I've had have forced me to get outside of the regular medicine box, right? But I still think that there is a place for, I call it commercial medicine, right? Get an infection, need an antibiotic. I mean, there's so many things. So Elaine says, echo? Is there an echo in here? I wonder if it's something with my computer. Let's see if that helps. I had the charger plugged in, so hopefully it doesn't go dead. You're okay. Okay. Michael says I'm okay. Oh, Michael thinks I'm okay. Okay. So the topic tonight is memory problems and brain fog. So you guys just go ahead and ask your questions if you want. Okay. And Connie says no issues. Okay, cool. So I forgot what I was saying. No, I'm just kidding. So I just want to tell you guys a personal story, and I will try not to cry because this is like, it's hard for me to tell this story. But so my mom, and she still is, I don't believe in death. I believe they're still with us. But she was so special to me. We had such a great bond. And my mom had Alzheimer's. She had dementia. It started when she was in her mid-50s, which is absolutely terrifying for someone in their mid-50s, right? When your mom and my grandma started in her 50s too. So it's absolutely terrifying to me. And I'll never forget, I promised to take care of her, and she did. She lived with me until she broke her third hip. So she broke one hip twice. And then when she broke a hip the third time and had surgery, when she went home, she was never able to walk again because her bones were so thin with osteoporosis, because we didn't know what I know now, right? So, and she had rheumatoid arthritis. So her bones were super fragile. And the doctor said the last time there was nothing really to put metal to. It was just sort of crumbled in there. And so she had lost all her independence. She was such an independent woman. It's such a, oh my gosh, just a jokester. I mean, just like, oh, just so ornery. That's the term I use. And it bites me in the butt too sometimes, because I learned her orneriness from her. And I'll say just the weirdest stuff sometimes. And I'm like, oh, that's my mom saying that. And I have to like rein that in. But as she started to have memory problems, just a little backstory on that. The first time I noticed, and this is because she was so ornery and she was always joking about everything, that I didn't know if this was serious or if she was joking. But we were going on a road trip and we pulled over at the gas station, and I was pumping gas, and I got back in the car and I had a mug, like one of those metal mugs with my name on it. So it's like monogrammed or something. And so I was like, I got back in and it was not there. And I was like, Mom, what'd you do with my mug? And she's like, I don't know. I'm thinking, oh, she's messing with me. And so I was like, Mom, seriously, where's my mug? And she's like, I didn't touch it. And so, like, I was looking all around, and I went and looked in the little gas station, where you throw your trash between the pumps. And there was my mug in there. And I was like, okay, either she's really messing with me or this is a problem. So there is a test that you can do, and I'm going to tell you guys about it in just a minute, to check for dementia problems. And it's called a clock drawing. But kind of fast forward, she got worse and worse, and then she broke her hip. And then I prayed. This was such a God thing, because it was like there was a waiting list at this really nice assisted living facility, and like it was like a 1.5 year waiting list. And the day that she was supposed to go home from the hospital, because I couldn't lift her, I mean, and she needed that level of care where it was like getting her to the bathroom and stuff, right? That day, I almost didn't answer the phone, because you know how it goes when you don't really want to answer the phone because you don't know who's calling. I happened to pick up the phone, of course, and it was her assisted living that was calling. And they said, are you still interested in a room for your mom? And I was like, are you kidding me? I said, yes, what do I need to do? And they said, well, if you can be over here to fill out the paperwork in 15 minutes, like we'll get it going. And I was like, she leaves the hospital. Like it might not have been that day, but like the next day. And I'm like, they're like, okay, great. That's fine. Such a God thing. I mean, if you ever doubt there's God, I mean, I just so many stories. If you've had one of those moments, put it in the chat. I want to hear it because it fuels me because I'm like, yes, I know. I mean, I know God is real, but it's just, there's those times when it's just like, okay, it's just undeniable. So anyway, she's in assisted living. So here's the whole point of the story I was getting to. I was coloring her hair, and she always liked the red color, like Clairol 102. I'll never forget. Anyway, I'm coloring her hair, and as I'm leaving, there's still this smell of the hair dye, and I've just been for 2 hours like washing, coloring, drying, and she says, because I'm leaving, and she says, when are you coming back? I really need my hair done. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, Mom, soon. And I almost lost it. So I got home and I was just bawling the whole way home. And I called my brother and I'm like, okay, I'm really being selfish right now because I'm really worried about Mom because this is like so bad. And then I said, but honestly, if I'm really telling the truth, I'm worried about me because every time like I would forget my keys, I'd be like, is this it? I mean, just the little things. And so I said, I am absolutely terrified right now. And he said, Tammy, he said, no, don't cry about this, but he said, you take your hormones. And I was like, okay, he gets me, right? He's like, Mom didn't have that. Her bones crumbled. Clearly, she didn't have hormones, right? And we know that estrogen has such a profound effect on the brain. And he also said you take a ton of supplements. And I'm going to talk about the supplements that I take. So if you stay with me, I'm going to share all those things as well. And then he said you also exercise, which is very, very important. I exercise Monday through Friday, and I'll tell you the exercise that I do as well. And then also, I don't eat great, but I try not to eat junk, right? And I try to eat as clean as possible. So I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that my diet's perfect, but I do take a lot of supplements. So that's sort of my trade-off for being able to cheat. So you take your hormones. Yes, I do take my hormones. I do. Okay, so I told you that I was going to tell you how to diagnose dementia. And you know what? I was looking up the stats. I've looked this up before. And I was looking up the stats on memory problems and dementia. And so it was something like 12% of women over the age of 65 have severe Alzheimer's or dementia. We're talking 65. That's 10 years away from me. I'm 55. We're talking 10 years. 65% or 12% of women over 65 have serious dementia. Okay. And 22%, I think it was, I should have written that down, over 20% have mild cognitive impairment or MCI. And I don't know what exactly qualifies as mild cognitive impairment, if that's just forgetting things or if that's, I mean, there's probably a whole spectrum of that. So anyway, you know me, I love to draw, and I think I do have to flip my screen so that you guys can see this. So, and hopefully I can pass the, oh, I think it's already on mirror. So we'll try this and you guys can tell me if it's good. Okay, so you basically ask the person who's having problems, and this is what I did with my mom, because I learned this in, med school and residency as part of the training. And so that day when she had thrown my cup away, that's kind of what I did pretty quickly after is let's do the clock drawing. And the reason the clock drawing works is because it takes over 20 areas of your brain to put this together. There's a lot of cognitive skills that go in with this. And, it's funny because kids these days have digital number clocks. I mean, I don't even know if they know what the face of a clock looks like unless their teachers are making them do it. But basically what they do is they have you put the numbers on here. Well, hope I pass, right? And then you got to make it like a certain time. Like maybe you ask them to make it like 10 o'clock, right? And so this, if they organize this, what will happen is if they have a problem, oh, he says flip. Okay, gotcha. Flipping now. That's weird because it said mirror my video. How's that? You guys good with that? Give me a thumbs up. Does it look okay? Okay, good. So anyway, yeah, so they'll like put all the numbers like jumbled up, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that. Or, it's just, you'll see all sorts of things, or they'll just stop, or it'll be like the circle will be like that, or, it's just kind of crazy stuff. So anyway, that's a good test. There's other things like you can have them like spell world backwards and count backwards by sevens from 100. And I got to tell you, math is not my thing. Counting backwards from 100, I would literally have to start counting on my fingers. So if anybody ever wants to cognitively test me, like I'm just telling you right now that would not be a good test. I would totally flunk it. Oh, and if you guys are enjoying this content, I'm going to give you a lot of nerdy information tonight. So hopefully this will be really helpful for you. But if you are enjoying it, please tap the screen. They say all you have to do is like keep tapping and more hearts come up. So if anything resonates with you and you're liking it, that kind of tells me that that's content that you're enjoying. And so I'll keep going. So the hearts are good. And if you know somebody that would benefit from this information, I'm here every night at 7 o'clock. Please share that with them. I'm tagging some of you guys who I see frequently in here, so I hope that's okay. Just to kind of remind you if you can't be here to, maybe share with a friend or something. So, okay. So, other things about memory decline, cognition issues is that I like to think of it as sometimes your hard drive is full. So by the time we get in our 50s, what we start experiencing is that we've had so many life experiences that it's literally like on a computer, you have software and then you have like the hard drive in the computer. And when that gets full, it's just like full capacity. And I think part of it too is that we kind of get to that point where we just don't give a damn anymore. We just don't care. And you have to have, there are several parts of the brain for memory that you have to activate. But usually, if there's no emotional attachment to a memory, you won't remember it. And so think about you driving to work every day. Do you remember everything that you see? Do you remember the cars you saw? Do you remember the, people walking on the sidewalk? You don't, because it's happening, it's registering, you're seeing all of it, but being able to recall it, you can't, unless, let's say there was a person walking down the sidewalk and they were all of a sudden like flailing their arms or something, or they had like a really weird hat on and they like turned their head and like looked at you and waved. That would be more of an emotional attachment, because we call it a pattern interrupt. So anything that disrupts the pattern, right? But a week later, even if that pattern interrupt, like that person in the crazy outfit or something, you don't remember that. I mean, it doesn't have any emotional impact. But think about something like your Christmas memories when you were little, right? That has an emotional impact. It's so funny. I went and I took a dollhouse to a little girl. I make dollhouses. I know it's kind of a hobby, but I took a dollhouse to a little girl this Saturday, and they were like all out there in the driveway, and they had just given their little grandson a four-wheeler as a present. And the first thing I heard the little grandson saying was, I wanted a white one. And they probably spent like, I don't know how much a four-wheeler is. I mean, ridiculous, like 10K. I don't know how much like brand new four-wheelers cost these days, and this little kid is just so upset because it was not white. It was a red four-wheeler. And so it's just like, okay, yeah, that'll be an impact memory for all of them, probably for a long time, So it's like the disappointment, that's an emotional attachment, or, just the really coolness of getting a really cool gift, or knowing that, like, my grandpa used to always give me doll houses, so I had these emotional attachments to the memories. It kind of works against you the other way, though. So if you have a traumatic event, you can actually have your memory work the other way. So you can dissociate and shut down and not remember things. And this is kind of crazy. Just recently, I had a friend from my past who I was in an extremely difficult narcissistic relationship for 6 years. And she told me just not too long ago that she had actually talked to me about this person and tried to warn me about this person. And I was already like 3 years into the relationship. So I was already really, um, I didn't think a person could be brainwashed, but I know now that you can because I do not remember this conversation. So either I had that cognitive dissociation that you have when you're extremely traumatized, or I had sort of that trauma induced dissociation. So when she told me about it, she said, I had my phone. I was trying to show you all this stuff about this person. And I was like, I have no idea. I do not remember that at all. So stress can also cause memory problems. And we call stress, right? I mean, I had a stressful day at work, right? We say that, or my boss stressed me out. So, what is stress? Well, stress happens all the time. Stress happens whenever you eat. You have a cortisol trigger. Cortisol fluctuates throughout the day. Stress happens when you drive your car in traffic. Stress happens, when you first wake up in the morning because now your body is awake and alert. So, stress happens all the time. What we're talking about is prolonged disruptive stress. So if you're in a narcissistic relationship, or you're upset about something, or you've had a family loss or a financial loss or something big, it's that chronic stress. And what happens is over time, if you have that chronic stress, they have actually showed studies in war veterans who they would track like on a PET scan, which shows what is it? It's not a PET scan. Here, I'm having memory issues, right? It's a certain kind of scan. If you guys know what I'm talking about, it might be. Yeah, I think it is a PET scan. Anyway, they can look at the size and the reactivity in the brain, and they have actually showed that chronic stress can reduce the size of your brain. That chronic cortisol can reduce the size of your brain. Okay, so we have to get into hormones just a little bit. There is a hormone called oxytocin, which is I call it snuggle cuddle hormone, but it is the hormone when you're born that calms the cortisol response or the adrenaline response. And we get that from snuggling or cuddling, or even just eye contact, or just feeling loved. I mean, that's when the oxytocin, they call it the love hormone, calms down that cortisol response. Too much cortisol for too long literally shrinks the brain, is what I'm trying to get at. So if you've had extreme trauma over time, that's definitely an issue, and it will short wire your memory. One of the things too with children that research has shown is that if you are in a situation where your child is misbehaving and you punish out of anger instead of out of teaching, the stressed brain, when they know you're upset, cannot process. It short circuits your short-term memory. And so you can't put any learning cannot happen in that space. And it's so hard when you're mad. I know when I get upset at my son, it's just like, I just want to scream, right? But he's not going to learn anything in that space. I have to wait. So I either have to be a proactive parent and tell him my expectations before something happens, or if it happens, I have to take responsibility for calming myself and then have the conversation. But it's really hard to calm yourself when you're upset, especially at your kid doing something that freaks you out or something. So stress can absolutely cause problems. So I want to get into a few supplements that I absolutely love, and then I'm going to go into some nerdy science about hormones, of course, because when you look at who gets memory problems, is it people in their 30s? I mean, yeah, it does happen. There's some, kind of, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but it's so rare because our hormones are youthful then, right? Or does it happen to people after 65, which the stats bear that out? So there is one thing that I do want to say too. Statins, the cholesterol medication. Believe what you want about them. I talk about them all the time. They scare me. And it's just fascinating that, okay, we're talking, when we did the math a minute ago, over a third of women have cognitive decline over the age of 65. Think about this correlation and look this up. Don't take my word for it. There are over 100 million prescriptions written for statins every year, cholesterol medication. 100 million. There are only 333 million people in the United States. It's almost a third. So we're talking about a third of people over 65, third of women over 65 have cognitive problems, and a third of people are on statins over, I don't know if it's over 65, but on statins. I don't know what age. I mean, I have young girls come in their 30s and their doctors have put them on statins. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. So anyway, there's so much more to that story. I know we're kind of trying to focus on hormones and brain, but I will tell you, with the statins, my mom actually was dating someone and he was a college professor, super nice guy. And he went on a statin and he lost his mind. I mean, he actually tried to strangle her. And the only thing that had changed was he'd gone on a statin. And so I don't know what happened after that. She didn't have any more contact after that, but she knew that that's what that was because that was the only thing that had changed. So in just a little bit, I'm going to draw out the cholesterol pathway for you so that you can understand the significance of that. But I've seen so much. I mean, we've added up over the years of my almost 25 years, probably seen over 30,000 patients. And that's a lot of patients. And I have seen nothing good come out of statins. I mean, I've seen some people who are okay and, tiptoeing around this, that they're okay. And in women, there are absolutely no studies for any sort of outcomes, because that's why you take a statin or cholesterol medication, because you're looking for not having a heart attack or stroke, right? So here's the deal. Why is that? Well, cholesterol is a fatty molecule, right? And you need fat in your brain. So this is fascinating. And I take a natural statin, drop my triglycerides. Oh, okay. Like a red rice yeast or something like that. You'll have to put that in. Yeah, Kimberly said I take a natural statin. Usually it's CoQ10, red rice yeast, that kind of thing. So it could be that. So you need fat in your brain because that's how the nerve conduction gets through the brain. It's all through fatty substances. And so we now know that Alzheimer's is a type 3 diabetes. What does that mean? That means that type 1 diabetes is when you don't have a pancreas and you have to take insulin, or you have autoimmune, or you have juvenile, or, as a child, your pancreas doesn't develop the cells that make insulin. Type 2 is when you have worn your pancreas out because you have had too much sugar in your life and it's not working properly. And the end point of that is you have to take insulin. Diane says, I'm worried. I've been on a statin for years. Yeah, you definitely have to research this. Don't take my word for it. I always tell people, I'm a doctor, but you need to talk to your doctor about anything, but have informed consent, because this is so bad. Because I have patients all the time tell me they're new patients and they'll be like, yeah, my doctor checked a cholesterol level. And then, I had a nurse call me and say, we've called you in a prescription for Pravachol, or, whatever the drug of choice is that day. I even had a patient who now there's an injectable form that they didn't even give her informed consent, didn't tell her any of this, and just gave her a shot that day. And she was having severe memory problems. I mean, and she had a history of autoimmune encephalitis, which is a brain thing from autoimmune. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was just criminal for them to take a woman who already has some cognitive impairment and do that to her, and not even talk to her about it. It was just gross. But yeah, in women, there's absolutely no research to show decreased morbidity or mortality, meaning increased death or serious, outcomes like heart attacks or stroke. So, and I will go up against any doctor that wants to fight that fight and say, bring it, show me the research. So everything that I say, because I love you guys and I really am here to support you and tell you the truth. In fact, my TV show is called The Naked Doctor. You can go look me up. But yeah, I have a local TV show, and it's this stuff. I'm like, you deserve to know this, and the medical establishment wants to keep you in the dark because Big Pharma has a big agenda, and so you need to know this. You need to know these things. So yeah, again, don't take my word for it, but yeah. So definitely, if you're on a statin, I would reevaluate that. And I'll draw that here in a little bit, but cholesterol is actually, yeah, money, money, money. Yeah, Connie, you're so right. Cholesterol is actually a hormone that makes your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So you absolutely need fatty substances in the brain. So the first thing I was going to tell you, because I promised to talk about supplements, because I'm passionate about supplements. I take a 3 milligram hormone pill. Is that enough? Okay, so we can talk about that. You might have to come back around and remind me of that question, but let me kind of stay on this track. This is crazy. I say this is crazy all the time. I mean, I say clown world crazy all the time. So maybe I'm the crazy clown. I don't know. But so I was watching this guy. I study all the time. I love to watch, educational stuff. And this guy was talking about a woman, interviewing a woman, and she had gotten, she was going to do a TED Talk. If you're familiar with what TED Talks are, she was going to do a TED Talk talking about some research that she had done. And she was a physician. I can't remember what kind of physician she was. She might have been a neurologist. I don't know, a brain doctor. And her husband started with dementia, and she started studying. And so she started giving her husband coconut oil. So video statins, may you be interested in reply to that one. Yeah. Password. I wish I knew what your name was. That's kind of a funny little name, but so yeah, send me a link to that video and DM me with that, and then I'll share that information on another live. I love this information, so yes, please. But anyway, she was all ready to present her data. And then also she said she was also going to present at a medical conference and actually had paid for the table, because they have those like display things. I can't email it, not allowed in their settings. Oh, okay. Well, just DM me with it. Direct message me with it and I'll get it. But anyway, so her husband started in with dementia and she started giving him coconut oil. As she studied it more and more, she found that the refined form called MCT oil, or medium chain triglyceride oil, actually worked better. And why did that work? Because if dementia or brain fog or cognitive issues is a type 3 diabetes, meaning not 1, not 2, but type 3, it is a sugar utilization problem in the brain. Now think about the variables. And this is what I always do. I think, okay, we've got a couple different things, right? We've got all these people on statins. We've got all this sugar, right? We cause type 3 diabetes in our brains. And we have all these women who are terrified of HRT. And we know that estrogen is a very important stimulator of glutamate, which is a brain chemistry, dopamine, all the things that can help with memory. And also progesterone helps with sleep. And with sleep, there is a process of the lymph drainage in the brain. They call that glymphatic drainage. It sounds like glamping or something to me, but glymphatic drainage. So if you're not getting good sleep, you're not releasing those toxins and things from the brain. And so we all know that if you haven't slept well, the brain fog can be really immense. You're like, what? I don't know. I'm just tired. So you're not thinking right. So that's pretty serious, right? So every morning when I make my protein shakes, now you have to be careful because when you use MCT oil or coconut oil, it can cause a little bit of stomach upset. So you kind of have to work your way up to it. But I put probably a tablespoon of MCT oil in my protein shakes every day. And if you're not careful, it causes some gas, bloating, and diarrhea. So you have to work your way up to it. But anyway, so this lady had done research. Her husband had gotten well. And it's so crazy because in medicine, we don't ever say we cured dementia or we cured diabetes. But I see this stuff all the time. I see people who completely turn these conditions around, autoimmune with anti-inflammatory diets and hormones, and just getting the junk out of their body. Oh, Connie says, love this so much. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Send me some hearts. I love it. I love when I'm like providing value because like I have all this stuff in my head and it's just such a blessing to like be able to like get it out there, and I do this, I draw pictures like with my patients all the time, just like this. And so I get to get all the nerdy stuff out of my head. So I love it. So thank you for saying that. Michaela says, yes, especially if you aren't type 1, a lot of hope there. Yep, absolutely. So yeah, type 1 diabetes is tricky because you might have been born without islet cells. Those are the cells that make your insulin. But sad thing is, there's tons of stem cell research on curing type 1. So of course, we don't do that in the US. It's all experimental, right? But yeah, so again, follow the money, right? Kayla says, do you deal with SIBO? So SIBO is small intestinal bowel overgrowth. If you guys aren't familiar with that, that would change lives. It absolutely does. So you have this bacterial flora in your gut, and they say the gut is a second brain. So if your gut is not healthy, if your liver is not healthy, then your serotonin is mostly, your happy hormone is made, your peaceful hormone is made in your gut. Most of it, we think of it in the brain. So if your flora, the bacteria in your gut aren't balanced, then that's a setup for not making much serotonin. Also, if the bacteria and the yeast and everything in there is competing, stem cell is expensive. It depends kind of where you go. We can actually, somebody asked me today to talk about PRF and stem cells. So I'm going to totally, once we get through these 25 days, I'll totally do a whole talk on that. But yeah, SIBO. So definitely can be irritable bowel syndrome. People can be just misdiagnosed and all they have is small intestinal bowel overgrowth. It's a little tricky to diagnose because usually you have to do like, you can do breath tests sometimes, and you have to like give like change your diet around before you do the testing. And the treatment is really strong antibiotics, which is probably what caused the SIBO in the first place. So you have to really work with somebody, and usually a functional medicine person is the best person to work with because leaky gut, SIBO, all those kinds of things. Gut food allergies are like not recognized in commercial medicine because it gets people better. It heals people, right? And the powers that be don't really want that, right? So even parasites, I know, wild, yeah. Parasites, this is interesting. I had a patient not too long ago. They were a farm family, and you treat your cows, your cats, your dogs, everybody gets parasite treatment. But and these are animals that are like sleeping in our house, right? And like probably licking out of our bowls or something, even when we don't, see them. They're like drinking our tea out of our, it's just, I've seen my cats up on the cabinet in the apple pie. So, it's like, we don't know like what kind of saliva exchange is happening with these animals. So anyway, yeah, we treated them with antiparasitics, and I felt like crazy because like if I even say as a medical doctor the word parasite, all of a sudden now I'm a quack, right? So it's like, but why is that such a bad word? So there's a lot about parasites. So we'll do some gut stuff here soon, but parasite flushes. Yeah, basically, you do have to treat with antiparasitics, like, and people are catching on, yeah. I don't even know. There is a antiparasitic that starts with the word I, and I don't even know that I can say that anymore because it got really demonized. So then you have to ask why, because that is a medicine that I have used since residency on babies for pinworms. So I mean, it's like, but I want to go against the grain and say it, but I don't know if that has kind of been allowed, right? When did we ever have like allowed freedom of speech? So anyway, yeah, when yeah, so there's so many things to that, but so parasites, all the things. So we're gonna save the gut talk. Yeah, people that I think, yeah. Okay, so we won't go there tonight. Talk about something else that's been taken off the market. Okay, and now I'm going to go into supplements because I keep promising you, and I just like rabbit hole, rabbit hole. That's what I do when I'm studying too. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Okay, this is called aniracetam, and studying a lot of brain stuff, studying hormones. I've been really passionate about that because I do know the relationship of hormones, and I do know the whole menopause connection, perimenopause, when your hormones are crazy. And I was watching a guy one day and he was talking about aniracetam, and it used to be by prescription and they took it off the market. And it was really hard for me to find this. And there's one supplement company that sells it. And so if you're curious, it's Smart Nutrition. I'm not an influencer for them. I have no stock in this company. But I did. So I ordered it, and I feel like my brain is good. I use it a lot. I do digital marketing. I have like a whole side business, that our Bliss program, right? Besides my medical practice. So I stay super, super. I think the brain is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. So sometimes I amaze myself during the day, like my content creation. I'm like, how did I do that? I don't even know. I'm learning new software. So definitely stay active. And that would be another one of my tips, to learn new things all the time. Because if you just retire and sit around and don't use your brain, you will lose your cognitive ability. It will go. But yeah, so this is pretty amazing, and it is basically, that's the name of it, because people are like, well, what's the name of it? And it's aniracetam. So anyway, I watched this guy and he was talking about it. It's really cool. So I did that. Okay, so this is this. I got the plastic on there. This is our brain support. This is the Dr. Tammy brand. And as long as I don't do any of my products that I support and talk in TikTok shop, I think I've seen that they don't kick me out or anything on this. But this is on our Shop Hormone Bliss site. Not trying to sell you supplements, but I take this every single day. And before I even knew about aniracetam, I took this, and I really notice when I don't take it. And that's how you really know, like with supplements, to me, is that if you take it and you notice a difference, then, or you don't take it, it's a thing, right? Aniracetam, did I spell that right? Anyone catch it? Let me put it on here. Can you see that okay? ANIRACETAM. There you go. And Smart Nutrition. Okay. So yeah, and there's tons of research on this. I mean, it is like, there's a reason they took it off the market, right? Very, very safe. I mean, I can find hardly anything on side effects or anything. So I think I just want to call you Funny, since your password Funny. I'll just say, hey, Funny, I love you. It's all good. Okay, so I'm always going to have, okay. So you guys probably see me drinking this tea every night. This is roasted dandelion tea. I absolutely love this. Why do I love roasted dandelion tea so much? Dandelion is a liver cleanse supplement. Oh, you asked me about parasite cleanses. Yes, actually, I didn't answer that. Antiparasitics are very important, And then there are some nutritional things and supplements and things, but we'll save parasites and SIBO conversation for another night. But yeah, dandelion. This is the organic roasted dandelion tea. It is kind of a strange flavor. It's almost like peanuts, peanut flavor, but I mean, it's just kind of real mild. But it helps with liver toxins. And you can only imagine that if you have toxins in your body all the time, you're going to have brain fog. You're just going to be fuzzy. I mean, it's just like having trash in your house, right? And so you want to be able to clean that out. And so along with liver, and I just finished my menopause metabolism reset book. It's in its final editing stages, so I'm super excited. But one of the things that happens through the liver is, you can see this, that's kind of backwards when I have to move for this screen. Oh, there it is. L-methylfolate. So the liver processes toxins and it also converts hormones. Brain fog, memo belly. Not sure what memo belly is, Lucy. You might have to elaborate on that a little for me. But folate is a B vitamin, and methylated vitamins actually work like trash bags to put your toxins in and to ship it out of your body. So dandelion tea. Oh, I didn't even take a drink. I start to get hoarse, so it helps with that too, because I talk and talk and talk. But methylated vitamins help clear the toxins from your body. L, is that amino acids? Yeah, L-methylfolate. So L-methylfolate. And we have all this on our, it's Hormone Bliss is our website, but it's shophormonebliss.com. If you want to go and find a methylfolate, and these are the Dr. Tammy brand. I really just, I'm a nerdy science researcher and I like to formulate stuff. So those are fun. But yeah, that's called Brain Support if you want to find that one, and the L-methylfolate. And I could tell you many stories about gut issues. I had gut issues my whole life. In fact, it was so common for me to sit and hold my stomach that people were just used to it, I guess. Password says, been on your website, just have not read all of it yet. So anyway, I would just sit like this all the time because my stomach hurt all the time. And I thought it was supposed to be like that because it happened since I was little. I don't know. I mean, I thought everybody's stomach hurt, right? And so I started studying methylation and liver issues. And there's something called, it's going to sound like a dirty word. It's called MTHFR. Sounds like mother. But it is a methylation problem. And I have 2 copies of both kinds. And so like I have really severe methylation issues. Anytime I go to the dentist, my anesthesia, like even local anesthesia, I don't process it well. Alcohol, I don't process it well. I mean, I can drink a little bit of wine, but then like I get headaches or, all sorts of other like weird things. I mean, I just feel sick. And she says, Michaela says, same here, suffering for years before figuring it out. Yes, this is really big. So this is fascinating. If you want to study this, I think you can see this, go to mthfr.net. And I just actually finished a book. It's called the MTHFR Solution. And if you guys are interested, I'll send you a free copy of the ebook. But I talk all about methylation. So anyway, when I started taking this, I'll never forget, I was in the airport one day and the person I was with said, Tammy, you're not holding your stomach. And, in the airport, you're always like hurting, because it's like you're eating junk, right? And you're stressed. And then you get the bloating because there's the pressure change on the airplane. And I was like, you're right. I'm not bloated. I don't hurt. And so anyway, fast forward, I was committed to this and also helped me with my fertility issues. It's part of our natural fertility program. But I had ran out one time. And I kind of thought, it's one of those things like, I don't know if that's really helping me all that much, and like my stomach started hurting and I was like, what's different? You ever done that? Like you start trying to think what's different. What am I doing different? What's causing this, And so I was like, I ran out of my methylfolate. So anyway, as long as I take this, I hardly ever have, sometimes you eat some crap and, you get like a little stomach bloat or something, but that's really big. And I did talk about GI and stomach bloating the other night, and I don't even know if I talked about this. So shame on me. Okay. And then talking about hormone balance too, we have a vitamin D. Again, I feel like I'm on TikTok shop or something, but I just wanted to tell you the things that I do take to support my memory. So if you're interested, and MCT oil, we don't have that on our site. I actually we do have some that we sell, but it's not on the site. But it just about any kind of MCT oil you can get. Yeah, just be careful as you kind of increase your dose. Constantina says, hi, Tammy. Hello, darling. I love all your little Christmas color hearts. That's awesome. Sherry, same here, trying to figure it out. Gut issues are awful. They are. Definitely get some methylfolate. Ours are 1,000 micrograms, and I take 2 a day, 2,000 micrograms. So I definitely start there. Password says I got to try eat ginger for bloating, but it lowers my blood pressure too much. Okay, that's good. So people out there with blood pressure issues, ginger. Magnesium too. Magnesium is wonderful for blood pressure. Whole nother story. Okay, so we've got a few minutes here. So I have to talk about hormones just a little bit. I'm running out of paper. I'm gonna have to buy some more paper. I have some at my office. My fiance said I should start using the whiteboard, but you know what? I think it makes a glare. I don't know. I got to practice with that because I think it does make a little bit of a glare on there. Then the paper doesn't really. Okay, so hormones. Estrogen is what we call a growth hormone. There are different kinds of estrogen, but if you look at, this is always my little spiel that I give, the need for hormones, right? When you look at a graph from birth to, let's say you're going to live to 100, and usually about 50 is where most women hit menopause, right? And you guys that hang out with me, you know this, so bear with me. And Diane says, is it ever too late for HRT? Here's the reason that I'm going to say no, 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 absolutely not. Okay, so if I put hormones on this axis, and I'm going to put estrogen in red, these are hormones, because estrogen induces the lining in the uterus, and then you bleed, right? So I like to do estrogen in red. And at birth, you don't have much estrogen, and then you start having periods, and then maybe you have problems with your periods, and then maybe you have a baby, and then maybe you have endometriosis or whatever people get. And then anywhere from 10 to 15 years before menopause age, these hormones start really getting crazy. I feel like it's an EKG graph or something, right? And then they start dropping off. And then your ovaries literally dry up. And I call that ovarian failure. I don't know how much of a term that's really out there, but it needs to be, because menopause is not the problem. The definition of menopause is just a year without periods. Who cares? I don't miss my periods at all, right? The problem is that your ovaries literally die. They shrivel up like raisins 100% of the time. Somebody just asked me today, how long do you have to take hormones? And then if you stop them, what happens? I'm like, until we figure out a way to regrow ovaries, your ovaries are done. On an ultrasound, 5 to 10 years out, on a pelvic ultrasound, you can look at the read from the radiologist, and it will say ovaries not detected, because they're gone. I mean, they literally dry up because you're born with all the eggs you're ever going to have. And when they're gone, they're gone. And so, yeah, the answer is you're never too old, because however old you're going to be out here. And the lie is that they're dangerous and they cause cancer. So if you guys know me, you know that is crap. It's a narrative that came out of a study in 2002 that hurt us so bad. Before that study, 60% of women were on HRT. After that study, a year later, it went down to half, to 30%. And now in 2024, 20 plus years later, 5% of women are offered HRT. It is criminal. It is sad. You are in ovarian failure if you are a year past having menstrual cycles. And, oh, you know what? Oh, gosh. Oh, it says my live will end. Hang on. They're going to try to kick me off here because I said it was just an hour. Okay. So, and my battery's about dead. So if I lose you, I love you. And I'll see you here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So, according to them, everything causes cancer, right? Exactly. Do you want to feel like crap or do you want some hormones to get your life back, right? Okay. And then progesterone, same thing. Hormones. Drops off, stop sleeping. This is perimenopause. And now we're flatlined here too. So, it's complex in all of the things that came out of that. But I will tell you, who has memory decline? Remember we said it was over the age of 65 or out here? And do people here have dementia? I mean, do we put women in nursing homes in their 30s when their hormones are here for dementia? I mean, yeah, I guess there is a story out there too that somebody could call me out and say, well, this lady in Poughkeepsie, this 40-year-old woman this happened to, but usually not. So, it's just such a big, big lie. Okay. So I know we're about to wrap up here. I'm always so sad when this is over because, I just love you guys and you're so cool and you just you get it, right? And you're my tribe. So, yeah, Michaela says there's always outliers. Absolutely. Yeah. For the most part, when we know the mechanism of action of the hormones, then you know that this is why it works. And there can be hormone imbalances that happen in younger people and, potentially breast cancer and things like that. Perhaps after 50 with no history. That is a little up for grabs on the answer to that. We were taught in school, yes, you have to. I would say if you have never had an abnormal pap and you have not had, multiple sexual partners, because we know that it comes from HPV, a virus, that I tell my patients, don't worry about it. It's not a bad idea to actually get a pelvic exam and look and see and make sure there's no tumors or anything weird. But as far as cervical cancer goes, which is why we do pap smears, it's very unlikely if you've never had HPV before. And so that's, the recommendations kind of come and go on that. So anyway, do you think regular easy periods through life suggest this transition may be easier? Absolutely, because women who have endometriosis, PCOS, dysfunctional uterine bleeding, they have a much harder time because they've been estrogen dominant so long, and it's really changed the architecture of the organs in the pelvis and the adrenals. Also, I can't say you are an ovarian failure. Your adrenals can make a little bit of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, but they really have a hard time keeping up, especially if you have other stress or blood sugar problems or all the things. So okay, so yeah, absolutely, everything, all of this could cause mood swings. Estrogen dominance, I talk about that a lot. So I do want to say this is my passion project. I want, before I leave this carbon experience, I mean, everybody's got an expiration date, but before I leave this world, I want the numbers back up for women, at least 50% of women on bioidentical hormones, which are very different from synthetic hormones. But my passion is to make it available for everybody. So every woman, guys do testosterone, but I'm talking about, us ladies. And so we have put a plan together so that we can reach a lot of people, and we are already reaching thank you, Michaela. I believe that. I believe God put a purpose in my heart. So we've made a plan so you can get a test kit. And normally these are $300. They're pretty pricey for our lab, but our Christmas special is only $119. So normally $300, it's a little over $100 now. And then you spit in this tube, and then you fill out this questionnaire of all of these, oh my gosh, everything from skin thinning, hearing loss, low blood sugar, eating disorders, urinary urge, nails breaking, brittle, blah, 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 all the things. Then you fill that out, you spit in the tube, you send it in here. There's a mailer, you slap the sticker on it and send it in the mail, and we check your levels. And then you get on with one of our hormone experts, and they go over your labs with you, and then we prescribe bioidentical hormone cream for you, and you get your life back. So super, super exciting. So the website is Hormone Bliss, and just go hormonebliss.com and check it out. Take my money. Where do I buy? You're so cute. Hormonebliss.com. And if my lovely moderator fiance would put that link one more time for us there. Oh, here, I'll do it here. They're probably going to kick me off this live because I only scheduled this long, but it's Hormone Bliss because we want bliss.com. And if you want any of this supplements, you just put shop in front of that, and that takes you to our e-commerce site too. So anyway, I'm excited. I want all of you to feel wonderful because I feel wonderful. And yeah, I still have my days. I still feel stressed and I have bad days and I still have brain fog sometimes. But I cannot imagine what it would be like if I didn't have this information, because information is everything. Knowledge is power, and don't let them gaslight you and tell you that it's normal to feel this way or put you on antidepressants or put you on sleeping pills, because hormones handle all of that. And I don't want to see you with the mental decline. I know I don't want my son to have to take care of me the way, and I felt a privilege. Oh my gosh, my mom, I just think about her, I'm just all snuggles and smiles. But I do not want my son to have to see me like that and to feel that burden. So that is my wish for everyone, and to not break hips like my mom did. That was awful, awful, awful. There was nothing good about that process, although, she's my mom and I loved her. But anyway, okay, y'all have a beautiful night. They're going to kick me off here, and hormonebliss.com. Come visit with us, and you will love all of my hormone experts. They are wonderful, wonderful. And for the first time, people feel like they've been listened to and helped. Terry, thank you. You're amazing. Oh, I love you. Love you. Tracy, I love you. I love you. I say Tracy all the time. My dear, dear, dear Tracy. Okay, y'all have a beautiful night, and I'll be back here tomorrow at 7.